Hey, what's up everybody? In this video, I'm going to review Charm Flower Cinderella from the Cinderella series. And technically, I would say this is actually from the Flower series. All three of the new Tsum that's currently out right now does have a charm flower. So it is going to be a lot easier to use, and all of the charms are going to be flowers. And the drop rates for Flower Cinderella is going to be a little bit more difficult to get. Her drop rates are a little bit lower at 27.27% for me, but that's because I have all the other Tsums maxed out. The other two Tsum, Flower Aurora and Flower Snow White, are at 36.36%. So let's take a look at her description. The ability description is Cinderella Tsum shines for a short time and clears surrounding Tsums when connected. The game demonstration that you're currently watching is a skill level 1 game demonstration, so I'm going to need a total of 26 Tsums to activate the ability, and the Tsum effects are going to be extra small, but I'll get into that ability a little bit later. And by the way, if you guys enjoy this type of content where I do in-depth review of every single new Tsum that comes out, and also do monthly leaks and do selection box pickup capsule reviews, then consider subscribing to this channel. Your subscription really helps me out a lot. Alright, so let's take a look at her stats. In order for you to activate her ability, you're going to need to clear a total of 21 to 26 copies of her off the screen. This number will vary depending on what skill level you have her at. Her minimum score is 40 with a maximum score of 1,265. So from a scoring perspective, she's actually pretty good. She has a pretty high maximum score, and she has a really good ability where you could clear a good amount of Tsums as well. So therefore, she is going to be pretty decent for score. Now, I don't know if she is going to be the top scorer or anything like that, but if you don't have a top scoring Tsum, Charm Flower Cinderella is a good option for that, especially because she's a charm Tsum, so you'll be able to activate a lot of abilities per game. And if you want to get her to skill level 6, you will need to get a total of 36 copies of her from the premium box. So that's on the higher end, but I think it is worth it for a charm Tsum. And if you take a look at her ability chart, every single time you level up her skill one time, it will require you one less Tsum to activate her ability. And also, the skill range or the skill effect will also be increased by one size. So it goes from extra small all the way up to extra large. Now, one thing the game doesn't call out is that you actually get a little bit more time at skill level 6 compared to skill level 1. You roughly get 1 to 2 seconds. I think there's going to be milliseconds there that I'm counting, but you do get a little bit more time at skill level 6 compared to skill level 1. And every single time you level up her ability, you get a fraction of a second. So keep leveling her up if you are planning to use Flower Cinderella as one of your main Tsums. So I'm going to change things up a little bit here for this video, and actually all the videos going forward, I'm going to have all 6 of the skill levels in one video versus splitting them up. So that way you guys get all the information quicker. So in this portion of the video, for skill level 1, 2, and 3, you'll see that the Tsum effects goes from extra small to large, and then the Tsums needed to activate the ability is 26 and then to 23. Again, the timing as well, but it's not listed here. But for skill level 1, you get the least amount of time compared to skill level 3. You probably get 0.2 seconds more or 0.02 seconds more every single time you level up the ability. So let's talk a little bit about strategy. Now, the strategy is going to remain the same between all 6 of the skill levels, so that kind of works out. So what you want to do first is, before you activate the ability, you want to make sure that there's at least 3 Cinderellas on their screen. Because keep in mind, during ability time, Cinderellas will also clear surrounding Tsums. And also the flower or the charm flowers will not. So only the Cinderellas will. And if you look at the Cinderella during ability time, they turn into like this shiny one. And to me, it kind of reminds me of the glass slipper. So it's probably a glass Cinderella. And if you play with the audio on, it also sounds like glass when you clear the long chain of Cinderellas. So it's likely a glass Cinderella. So you want to make sure that there's at least 3 Cinderellas on the screen so it clears surrounding Tsums. Ideally, you want more than that, but 3 I would say is the minimum. So you connect that chain, and if you're not in fever time, you definitely want to have a bubble handy so it bursts Tsums that are surrounding it as well. And another tip I have for you guys is, after the ability ends, a blue flower will be created. And this blue flower you could actually move around in case you didn't know. And where you want to move this blue flower or the blue bubble, essentially there are 2 ways of approaching that. Is you can move the bubble to another area that has a lot of either flowers or Cinderellas. Another option is you can move it to an area where there's not a lot of bubbles. And these bubbles I'm talking about are the ones that have abilities in them, or sometimes they don't. But by doing that, you'll be able to clear a lot more Tsums. And earlier I forgot to mention, but the Tsum range or the ability size is in reference to this blue flower. So if you have this Tsum at skill level 1, the last blue flower burst is going to be a lot smaller compared to skill level 6. And actually, let me show you a side-by-side comparison of the 3 abilities activated at the same time. So that way I can show you what I mean by the blue bubble and what I'm actually doing here. So let me slow this down because there is actually a lot going on and it happens relatively quickly. So the first thing you want to do is just activate the ability, and again, make sure that there's at least 3 Cinderellas on the screen. The more the better. So this right here is showing you where all the Cinderellas are. So at this particular moment, you want to start thinking about how you want to connect the chains. The longer the better, but technically all you really need is 3 to get it going. So once you get it going, it's going to clear surrounding Tsums, and you want to try to burst a bubble afterwards if you can. It will speed up the animation. And this is a slow motion, so things are actually happening a lot faster in real time. And you see this blue flower that's being created. Skill level 3 got created later, which means that the ability time was longer for skill level 3. And this blue bubble, again, you can move it around. And if you take a look at skill level 3, I didn't really move it to the optimal spot. There's 2 bubbles there, actually I think 3 bubbles. So the chain is not going to be maximized. So you want to move it to an area that's a lot open, or where there's flowers or Cinderellas. So you take a look at it here, you'll see that skill level 1, the radius of this bubble or the clear area is a lot smaller compared to skill level 2 and skill level 3. So as you level up the ability, the range or the skill range or the effects of the blue flower will get bigger and bigger. Now let's take a look at skill level 4, 5, and 6. So very similar to skill level 1, 2, and 3, they're going to require 1 less Tsum to activate the ability. And the Tsum effects are going to go from medium to extra large. Again, Tsum effects is in reference to the blue flower at the very end once you've connected all of your flower Cinderellas. And the strategy for skill level 4, 5, and 6 is exactly the same as skill level 1, 2, and 3. To reiterate, you want to make sure that there's enough Cinderellas on the screen before you activate the ability. And you want to have a bubble handy as well, so that way you can skip through the animation when you connect a Cinderella chain. And then finally, the blue bubble, you want to move it to an area where there's either a lot of Tsums or not a lot of obstructions from the bubble. So let's take a look at the abilities activated at the same time at these higher skill level. So the strategy essentially is the same, and this is in full animation. So I'll let it play through, and then what I'll do is I'll slow it down so I can analyze it with you guys. So as you see there, the animation was a lot longer compared to the lower skill level. Like I mentioned, you're going to get a lot more time compared to skill level 1 to skill level 6. So here we have the animation. You see there at skill level 6, I didn't have that many Cinderellas, so not necessarily the best way to start the ability. But that's okay, as long as you have some Cinderellas on the screen, you'll be able to connect more chains, and hopefully you'll have more Cinderellas that will drop from the top of the screen. So monitor when the animation ends there. You'll see that for skill level 4, it's going to end first, and that blue bubble is created, then 5, and then 6. This is just to show you that you will get additional time that's not mentioned in the game. And this blue flower, you just move it around, and the higher the skill level, the more difficult it gets to placing it at an optimal spot. But you see at skill level 6 how big that burst is. That's because the Tsum effects is going to be a lot higher at the higher skill level. Now, skill level 4, I ended up with 18 chains. Skill level 5, I got a chain of 24, and then for skill level 6, I got 32. So to optimize it, you might want to just put it in the center of the screen, regardless if there's bubbles on the screen or not. And realistically, once you get to this higher skill level, you're likely going to have a bubble blocking your way to maximize your chain anyways. Or you could wait and burst those bubbles on the bottom of the screen before you move that blue bubble. You could do that as well, but keep in mind you want to do this as quick as possible as well. So just do what you can, find a strategy that works best for your play style. My play style might be a little bit different compared to yours, so it just really depends. So overall, I do really like Charm Flower Cinderella. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I think that she is going to be the best Charm Flower Tsum compared to the other two. She's going to earn you the most coins and also get you a really high score as well. So let me show you guys the results for all of these gameplays. So as you can see here, at skill level 1, I ended up with 1,614 coins, so not that great. But once you get to skill level 3, you could actually use the 5, 4, and coin boost. So at skill level 3, I got 2,901 coins. And finally, at skill level 6, I got 4,523. If you see the jump there from skill level 5 to skill level 6, I got a significant improvement when it comes to coin earnings because you get more time. The Tsum ability clears a lot more Tsums as well, and you can activate a lot more abilities per game. So definitely at skill level 6, it is really good, but at the same time, you don't necessarily want to spend 20 skill tickets on it. So I think that if you are newer to the game and don't have a lot of resources, getting this Tsum to skill level 3 is already really good. And once you get it to skill level 3, you can use the 5-4 and coin boost, and I think that is the sweet spot for this particular Tsum. And also for score, it's not that bad. At skill level 6, I got 13 million points, and this Tsum I've only played a couple of times, so all of these gameplays are my first attempts. So if you keep playing it and level her up to level 50, she's going to be a very effective score earner. So that's my review for Charm Flower Cinderella. I hope that you guys found this video helpful or at least entertaining. And if you guys would like to see more Tsum Tsum content just like this, don't forget to subscribe. As always, thank you so much for watching.